In this tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate a method for joining granny squares or any kind of motif squares. These are just some basic little granny squares I made just for the demonstration, and they're about 3 or 4 inches square, and this little method we're joining with a double crochet. Gives a little bit of an edging space between the squares. That can be really fun, and it actually has a little texture ridge that goes between the squares. So what we're going to do is I start with get my slip knot, but I take it off my hook. I'm going to pick up the first square that I'm going to work with, and I'm going to insert my hook into the corner stitch. In this case, there's a slip knot right there, so we're just going to kind of work with that, and we're going to figure out where that slip knot joins, and there's a chain 2 here, so, and I don't want to go into the top of that turning chain, so this little spot right here, because I joined with half double crochet, we're going to pretend that's a chain 1, and I'm going to insert my hook right there. I'm going to pop my slip knot on and pull the joining yarn through, and then I'm going to chain 2. Then I'm going to grab my second square over here, and I'm going to find the coordinating stitch from the back side, because we want to join, much like with sewing, you want to put, in this case we're going to put the wrong sides together. And let's see, here's my stitch right here. Okay, so that's where that stitch is. Because we're doing a double crochet, this is how we're going to do it. We've got our chain 2 over here. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to go in to the matching stitch in the second square. See, under 2 loops. You know me. If you know me by now, I like to go under 2 loops. And we're going to pull up 1 loop. There are now 3 loops on the hook. Let's see if I can get up here a little closer for you. And then we'll yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. Now we're going to do the next stitch. We're going to yarn over. We're going to go into the next stitch in this first block, which in this case is going to be the top of that turning chain. So we're going to insert into that, and yarn over and draw up 1 loop, yarn over and draw through 2, so there are now 2 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over, go into the matching stitch on the second square, which is going to be that first double crochet in this block over here. Yarn over and pull up 1 loop. Now I have 4 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops, then yarn over and pull through all 3. I'm going to explain that again. We'll just go across this square so you can see it, and I'll talk a little bit more about each thing. So we're making double crochets, so we're going to yarn over, and we are going to go into the next stitch on the first block, yarn over and pull through 2. Now I've made the first half of the double crochet that goes in this square, but we don't want to have more stitches. We need the same number of stitches between the squares. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to go into the next stitch on this second square, yarn over and pull through 2. That makes the first half of a double crochet on the second square, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. Essentially what you're doing is you're double crocheting 2 together. It's just instead of having them be all in a row, you've got them on different pieces. Let's do it again. So yarn over, I'm going to go into the square, pull up 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, go into the next square, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then pull through all 3. And we'll lay this out so you can kind of take a look at what this ends up looking like. And you see how it makes this nice frame between the pieces, and it adds a little ridge right down the center, so it adds a little texture. So I'm going to go all the way across, and we'll just work through it together. Sometimes what will happen if you are working on blocks that are not exactly the same, you could end up with more stitches on one block than another block, and you have to do some figuring to make that work out, because if you just do one and one and one and one, what can happen is you're going to end up with some extra stitches over on the other side. So I'm going to show you a way to deal with that. Let's say that I have more stitches over on this side, on this green square, than I have on this pink one. So what I might do is I would start a double crochet on this side, do one over there, and then start one on this side, and then go back to the green one again. So now I am taking 3 stitches, 2 on the green one, 1 on the pink one, and I've turned them into 1 stitch in the joining. Let's see if I can show you how that looks. But you still have the effect of one piece here, 1 stitch here, 1 stitch here, and then 1 stitch here, which is what we want. That'll help keep it nice and even, and it keeps this center having the right number of stitches. This is particularly important if you've ever worked with a group of people to create what we used to call a comfort gan, which is an afghan that maybe many people have submitted squares motifs for, and they're all made by different people and with different yarns and with different patterns, and they can be very difficult to join together if you without sewing, and not sewing isn't always not always the way to go, sewing them together. This is a method that really will stand the test of time. It'll hold up in washing and won't come unraveled, and it's kind of nice because it just adds that block of color, that stripe of color between your squares. So let's keep going. We're going to yarn over, go into the first square, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, go into the second square, yarn over, drop a loop, go through 2, and pull through 3. Yarn over, go into the first square, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, into the second square, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 3, yarn over, go into the first square, yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, into the second square, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 3, yarn over, go into the first square, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, go into the second, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, go into the first square, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, go into the second square, yarn over, pull up a loop, go through 2, and pull through 3, yarn over, go through into the first square, make that first half of your double crochet, then start get the first half of your double crochet in your second square, and pull through 3. This works not only for squares, but for strips too, if you like the mile a minute style afghans. Those are kind of fun as well. stash busting. Alright, we're gonna yarn over and we're gonna go into make the first half of a double crochet in the first square, and we're gonna make the coordinating one in the second square, and then pull through 3, and then yarn over. There's that one and that one. Now we're at the corner, and our stitch here is going to be this first chain stitch at the corner, and then there's a chain stitch in this corner. So we'll do it again. And under there, do my half a double crochet right there. Not a half double crochet, but half of the double crochet. And into the one on the green side, and through the 3. Okay, so let's lay this out and take a look at this. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how I like to move into the next set of squares. So let's say we were doing this. So when we move into the next set, we're actually going to let these 2 edges right here be loose, and we'll come back and do those after we do this side. So we're going to go into that chain stitch right here in the corner. It's really about even distribution of stitches, and we're going to find the coordinating one for that top square and pull it through. Some people find it easier to really just hold the squares together like a sandwich, and some like it to be spread out this way. There's no right or wrong in that. It's just whatever helps you to keep your joining stitches evenly distributed. And sometimes they, of course, like to get a little tangly. Oh, my working yarn over here is getting really tangly. That's kind of frustrating. So I'm just gonna work across this row, and you can follow along. We're gonna make that one there, half over there, and together, and over here, over there, and up to 3, and here, and here, and all together, and here, and here, and all together. And I'm going to work across this, and then I'm going to come back and show you how to join down the other side through the center once we have this edge done. Alright, I'll be back in a few minutes. Keep working on yours. Look at that. Isn't that going to be pretty? Makes a beautiful, beautiful effect. Okay, so we finished this median on here, and now we're going to start working on this side. As you can see, I've done most of the way across over here, and I've come up to where the center is, and there's some gapping, and then of course we have this bar right here from the other line that we did. So I'm going to show you how to work with that. I have done all of the little double crochets here, so I have to just do my chain, that chain stitch for the corner. So we're going to join that. You don't have as much room to move around once you get to this place, so it can be a little harder to get all your fingers where you want them to access everything. So we're going to do that, and we're going to make our stitch, part of our stitch there, and the coordinating one for the other side, just like usual. Oops. Except I'm struggling with it. That's not the usual. See, even I struggle. Don't let yourself get stressed over struggling to make your stitches, because even that happens even to me. And then through the 3. Now this one, we've already done this stitch when we did this edge over here, but if we don't do it again for over here, we're going to end up with a gap. So we actually have to do this corner one again. And find its little friend on the other side. And then through the 3. Alright, let's take a look here. What we have going on. So then we end up with this space right here and this center bar. And we're going to end up with another space just like this one right here before we move into this corner right here. How we're going to handle that is we are going to go into the side of this double crochet. We'll start on this side because we're always starting on the front. We're going to go into the side of this double crochet right here and pull up our loop and do that, and then go into the side of it, the one on the other side over here. You just pick up a couple of loops, side loops on the bar of this. Just grab a couple loops there to make your stitch in. And there we go, there's my 4. Go through 2 and go through 3. Now we can just sort of jump right over the top of that. And we're going to go to this, do just like we did on this side. We're going to go into the side of this double crochet over here. We're just going to grab a spot where we can comfortably wriggle the hook through and pull up in through 2, and then go over here and do that again. Just any old place we can. Some of those spots are easier to wriggle into than others. I only got 1 loop right there, so I'm going to grab that one too, because I would really like to be under 2 loops. And I'm gonna have to go through both of those loops. There we go. Now I have my 4. And there, and there. And then we've got to get into that corner. Got to do that corner the second time for that one. And over there. And then down, now we proceed down the side. So I'm going to get under the 2 loops of that chain. And the more stitches we start putting in here, the tighter those can get. So we have to just try not to split the yarn and just work our way through them. That one does not want to work through. I didn't pop into that stitch quite right. So let's try going this way. There we go. Oh, that feels way better. There we go. There we go. And there's that chain over there. Grab 2 loops there. Okay, and then through all 3. And then work down the side of the square just like we have before. And just remember, it's the same thing as double crocheting 2 together, but you're doing each half of the double crochet on a different square and pulling it together in the center. In the pink one and in the green one. And we'll just continue working across here, and then I'll show you what that center looks like. Works out pretty good. It's a really nice join. I think it adds a nice framing to your squares, especially if you're doing squares that don't really seem to go together. Joining them in a manner like this with one color really can pull the whole thing together in a fabulous, fabulous way. Almost to the end of this block. Just a couple more stitches. I'm hoping you're following along here, where we've got half of the double crochet on the first one, and then the half of a double crochet on the second one, and then pull through the three. And now we're in that last chain over there for this row. And I half of a double crochet, and under 2 loops over here, do half of a double crochet, and then through all 3. And we're going to, much like a chain, right, to finish off. And we'll cut our yarn and pull that through and make our knot. And then this is what it ends up looking like. Then you would go around the edge. There's so many different ways you can combine them together. This is what that center ends up looking like. You can see it from this side over here. It's very textury, and it adds some definition between the blocks, which is kind of fun. So I hope that was helpful for you,